Recently, PFK Boom, a local activist out of Baltimore, had a conversation, some would say even a confrontation with Pastor Jamal Bryant, who happens to be a pastor of a mega church out there in Baltimore, leading over 10,000 members. They were protesting out there on the in regards to Tyrone West, who was a local resident that died at the hands of excessive force by police, in which they're still seeking justice from. They've been protesting for about I think about a year or two now, and we're just now seeing Pastor Jamal Bryant out there on the floor, kind of when the cameras are out to be seen and to show his presence out there. To some people, they say it's a good thing. To others, they say, hey, too little, too late. PFK Boom, local activists, told him, don't come out there anymore. Really, stay out of Baltimore, but if you're not going to stay out of Baltimore, at least stay off those streets where those protesters are at, because he is not welcome, and PFK Boom says he's just being a voice for the streets.
Yeah.
My question to you is, should we address, our so-called leaders in this manner? Should we call them out in this type of way? Is it productive, or just share your thoughts on Pastor Jamal Bryant? He seems to be pretty vocal on black issues.
Man, when I saw that video, I immediately understood the perspective of PFK Boom. That's something that people such as myself and many others in the community who are activists, we feel the anger and the frustration, not only from the injustices that occur within the police department, but the lack of caring that's promoted in our own communities by our own people. When what you basically saw was somebody like PFK Boom, who very involved in Baltimore, he was feeding the homeless monthly, saying through their own funds, through their own donations, him and another brother, weekly out there protesting for the last year or two, in regards to Tyrone West and Freddie Gray. And, you got Jamal Bryant, who shows up, mega pastor, social media guy. He shows up, and it's like, you don't want that type of energy being brought to something that you're trying to be productive with this protest. And so I understood it. What I disagree with, which was also kind of funny to me at the same time, I can't lie, my sense of humor kind of twisted, but was the language.
You know what I mean? You're supposed to let these people, man. And I I understand that y'all stuff, but you had no answers for man, then you come down here late, Tyrone been on the ground 100 minutes, 300-something days, you down here now. Don't come.
What'd you do for Tyrone
We don't want you nowhere in our city, yo. We don't even want you on our streets. You disrespect our streets, man. This me, PFK Boom. I was on the front, you disrespected up here north, and you came down there, you ain't even fighting no war with us, yo. You ain't had nothing on your show, you ain't had no guns or nothing. And then you fucking with our oppressors. What you mean, how? You fucking with Rolling Blake and all them, man. You trying to kill us, man.
Where were you for
That's
Tyrone West?
man. We telling you are. The streets feel like you killing us, man. All right. No, we don't want you in our fucking city now. Then get the fuck out the whole city. Is it that easy? That we can really get you the fuck out of here?
No, sir.
Well, check this out, man. Don't come nowhere down here no more. Wherever PFK Boom at, don't come. I know you can tell your henchmen. I know you, yo, Tinidi and all them. I know you before I seen right about all that. Get the henchmen. Don't come down here no more. Boom said it. Me, as a man, the streets don't want you here. I'm speaking for them. So we see you here.
You shouldn't speak to anybody like that. Anybody, trying to help, you shouldn't speak like you. Trying to so-called help, you shouldn't speak to them like that. It's too much division in our community already, and the more divisive we are when it comes to matters to where we need unity, that continues to carry on and snowball over. And that's what makes folks scared to collaborate or not even want to fool with so-called revolutionaries or activists or people in the community. The attitudes towards each other. It's the main reason why it's hard for black people to support black-owned businesses, because they always like talking about attitudes and personalities and people with these superiority complexes. But he shouldn't have spoke to him like that. But he gave us some truth. And I think that's the main reason why Jamal Bryant walked away, because though the message became a little vulgar, there was a lot of truth in it, and there was no denying that. These people grassroots with it. They've been on the ground for a long time, protesting the injustices, supporting families, being out there in the community, and with or without a camera there. So for him to show up at this time it looked to be like he was being an opportunist. And some people say, well, why do you want to pick and choose what help you want? Man, Jamal Bryant is a different case. When you have that type of notoriety attached with your name, when you've been called to minister, you put it a high standard. And so with being at the high standard, you don't get to walk around and do every little thing you feel like you should be able to do, because, it's not your choice. It's not your choice to do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? You've put your thoughts out there too many times on social media, too many times in your sermons. I mean, what he could do to be more effective is to stop delivering messages like these hoes ain't loyal and slut shaming at his church, and maybe possibly bring the scripture into the movement. Okay, so what can you as somebody that's been anointed by God, a clergy, what can you do in your sermon to help the people that are out there in those streets struggling? Because if I'm correct, the whole purpose of you and the faith that you proclaim, that you represent, is you want to bring those people that are out on those streets into God's house. So the best way to do it from this perspective right here would be to go talk to them and bring the scripture into it, and get your people in your church, your congregation, to go out there and protest. That's the way you build a community right there. So that's what you can do. But as far as him being there, it just wasn't the right time for him to be there. They've been out there a long time. And if you show up looking like an opportunist for these cameras, I mean, you're going to get that reaction. And what he got was the frustration of somebody who's been out there working in the community regularly, regularly. And he was met with rejection. And that's what happens, But there's things that Jamal Bryant can do himself to turn that image around. I mean, right now he's looked at by PFK Boom and some other people in the community as somebody who's working with the oppressors. They got a lot of problems in Baltimore. And so you can't be upset with these people in Baltimore when they get angry about police murdering people. For years in America, the disenfranchisement, the misfortune, the poverty, the drugs, the violence was all entertainment for us on television in Baltimore. So we love to watch it and brag about how The Wire is one of the greatest shows written on television. But guess what? It wasn't fiction. Those are stories written by former police officers and detectives. The characters in The Wire were inspired by real life people that lived in the streets and in the projects out there. So for years, this was our entertainment. And now we want to look at them like, oh, they crazy up there for reacting the way they do. It's only right. You know what I'm saying? If you watch that show, you just got to see an hour each episode of what was going on with the drug trade, the violence, and the criminal element going on there. You only got to see a little bit of the police corruption, because they touched on the police corruption in that series. You only got to see a little bit of what the children went through in the public school systems. So now when it's time for them to protest and it's an uprising and people don't seem to be there for the right reasons, they're there for self-serving reasons and not there in a righteous cause, not there because the plight of everyday people is paramount, you're gonna meet resistance. But don't get upset with it. Look at yourself and self-evaluate and see why they personally feel that way. Then go back and make some changes. And maybe then we could all collectively work. But you can do some other work for yourself because you have a platform, you have a church. So Pastor Bryant can right his wrongs in his church by speaking to his congregation and helping the community move forward and develop like that.